TOSSE, we are here.
So here is Bisi Akande with my main mentor, Maxwell. This picture was taken in March in Florida when I was given an award for personal growth in Florida because I love growth and I do some things to make sure that I grow myself. But let's move on. If you look at the world of work today, we discover that one of the things that is evident to us is the fact that we have a lot of diversity. Everywhere around us, there are people, and I think especially in the educational sector, there are people of different diversities. When we talk about diversity, we're talking about people of different cultures, different backgrounds, tribes, religion. We're talking about age dynamics, and I'm going to concentrate more on that later on for some reasons. But we live in a diverse world. We see diversity all around us, whether at work and at home. Nobody here, we see it increasing rather than decreasing, changing form as it were. But why I'm going to stay on the younger or the age dynamics is because we are seeing a new kind of diversity, and that has a lot to do with the age dynamics. So, in a regular workspace today, in a regular world of work today, you will see different ages. It's not impossible to find somebody that is 63 working in the same office with somebody that is 23. That was not commonplace, but now it's commonplace. So you can find somebody who is even probably 65 working with somebody who is younger than 20. They all work together, and these things pose challenges for us as leaders because we're in various forms and we're in different dimensions. So that's what we want to look at. Now, what that calls for is our understanding of diverse situations, diverse things. How do we work on it, and how do we apply that to help our leadership journey? Now, in my life, and I think that one or two of us might just be like that, there are some beliefs. Now I'm going to talk about why we have this diversity. One of them is belief. There are some beliefs that I have held for a very long time that held me down. When you hear people talk about leadership, first things first, you start thinking about something. Usually if I had time, I would just say, okay, fine, write down the names of 5 leaders that you know. And I see a lot of people write down names, but they forget some things. Maybe we should even try it. Can you write down the name of 2 leaders that you know? Just 2 that you know. Let's not go to 5, just 2. Just write down the name of any 2 leaders that you know. Please, not dead leaders or living people. It's always better to work with living people. But most of the time, who will tell you that Nelson Mandela? I love him. I appreciate him, but he's gone. And we talk about those who are here. So anybody, can we do just 2? Just try that exercise. Just 2. 2 people that are leaders. Yes. Because the truth of the matter is that most of the time when we ask ourselves, write the names of 5 leaders, we exclude the most important person, ourselves. And the reason is because many times we grew up with certain myths. I had some beliefs that were not supposed to be. They were not serving me well because we have beliefs that don't serve you well, they sabotage you. Many times we self-sabotage ourselves because we have beliefs that are wrong. For example, I believed, because I watched a lot of movies when I was young, that if you are going to be a leader, you must be tall and gigantic. And unfortunately for me, I didn't have that size. So I ruled myself out. Then I had another belief that if you are going to be a leader, you must be born from a royal family. Because when the king leaves the place, what happens? The prince will take over. Thank God for the king of England. He almost lost the opportunity. Because if the queen lives so long, what happens to the prince? He has to pray to you longer, or else he will never see that place. But unfortunately, I was not born in a royal family, so I ruled myself out. The third thing is that, again from the movies, if you are going to be a leader, then you must have a position, correct? Unfortunately, while I was in school, they never thought of me for class captain. Not even, some people will say that the only thing they remember them for is those who write the names of noisemakers. I'm not even sure they remember me for that. But that's just it. So I thought that I couldn't be a leader, I shouldn't be a leader. But I learned certain things because somebody gave me an opportunity. The challenge of that opportunity was that he gave me a place to lead, but he never gave me people to follow me. So I was to lead myself as it were. And that's challenging. That was when I began to study the subject of leadership. Because I learned that everything rises and falls on leadership. So 3 things that I learned about leadership I want to share with you. Number 1 is that it begins with you. And I want somebody to please help me say it begins with me. The truth is that leadership begins with you as a person, because you are the leader. You are the one that is called the leader. So as the leader, it begins with you. You've got to start from you. Many times we push the subject of leadership to someone else, or the head of school, or the proprietor, or the president, or the governor. We push it to someone else, and sometimes people make it look like we just need one leader to take every one of us to where we are going to. My belief is that Nigeria needs 200 and whatever million number of people leading at the same time, because it begins with you. And what does that mean? It means that you are important. The Y there means you are important. The O there means only you can be you, and that's very important. But the truth is that only you can be you. There's nobody on the face of the earth who can be like you, or who can even do things the way you do them. Only you can be you. But again, the you there stands for the fact that you need to understand who you are. That's a big thing. If we talk about that, we can talk about that for hours. You need to understand who you are. Leadership begins with you, and the impact of that for me, when I got to realize that this thing begins with me, I got to understand that number 1, I needed to know myself. I needed to know myself. I needed to know myself. A lot of times when you ask people that who are you, and you hear people in a fight who ask questions, do you know who I am? Anytime you find somebody who is asking, do you know who I am? You have seen somebody who does not know who he is. Because if you know who you are, you don't ask me, do I know who you are? You tell me who you are. Do you know who I am? And by the time you search down, ask them, they themselves don't know who they are. Because when you say, okay, who are you? You will say, my name is Bisi Akande. That's your identification mark, not your identity. Don't confuse your identity with your identification mark. Who you are is more, it's not, I'm sure there are other Bisi Akandes in this world. So anybody can take up that name at any point in time. But who I am is different. You need to know who you are. That's very critical, but that's where it starts from. Leadership begins with you knowing who you are. And then the second thing I got to find out in that place is that if I know who I am, I know where I am, and I'm aware of who I am, the next thing is that I can't stay that way. I need to grow myself. I need to grow myself. Because the truth is that the only guarantee that tomorrow is going to be great is when you are growing today. Nobody has a future who does not grow. Nobody has a future who does not grow. Somebody said, and I love that quote very well, if you are proud of what you did 5 years ago, it's because you are not growing. If you are growing, you will not be proud of what you did 5 years ago. By 5 years' time, that thing should have been obsolete. You should be looking at something else that you are doing. I don't follow people because of what they did. I follow people because of what they are doing. Because what they are doing is what shows me that they are growing now. And if somebody is not growing now, then he doesn't have a future. Alright, and the third thing is that when I know myself and I grow myself, then I can apply myself correctly. These are lessons that I learned. I can apply myself correctly. Many times you see people who don't apply themselves correctly because maybe they don't know themselves, they're not growing themselves. Applying yourself correctly is making sure that you are a round hole, you're a round peg in a round hole. Making sure that you're a square peg in a square hole. Many times we are frustrated in life because we are trying to force a square peg to enter into a round hole. So there will be pressure. And then many times we are not fulfilled because we are trying to push a round peg into a square hole. There will be spaces. So it begins with you. Number 1, you need to know yourself. Number 2, and the question there is who are you? Number 2, you need to grow yourself. And the question there is how you grow yourself. We'll get to that. And then number 3, you need to apply yourself correctly. Now the second thing I discovered is that it involves others. Leadership begins with me, but it involves others. It begins with me, but it will involve others. The truth is that leadership begins with you, but it's not about you. There is a Chinese proverb, I think, that says, if you find yourself, if you think you are leading and nobody is following, what's happening? You are taking a walk. Because if there is a leader, there must be a follower. Now, it's not about people being behind you. It's actually about you being able to influence people to make a change, to move, to go somewhere, to make things happen. That's what it means. It involves others. And if it involves others, I apply the same principle also. It means that I need to know people. I need to understand. I need to know people. I need to know who they are. I need to know what makes them tick. I need to know what are their interests. What do they value? I need to understand that. I need to know people. Then of course I need to also grow people. I need to help them to grow. Because in this life we can't grow alone. We can't grow alone. One of the things I say to myself on a regular basis is that if anyone is working with me and after 5 years I cannot see improvement in your life, you have to shift. You can't keep working with me. You have to shift. You have to shift. So I make it a personal decision to ensure that whoever has any link to me must also be on that growth trajectory. Because a leader is known by the 5 most closest people to him. So it involves others. You need to know people, you need to grow them, and you need to be able to also do the same thing on the first one, apply them correctly. Apply them correctly. Now I know that in many times people come to us and they have a lot of skills. So we use them here and there. Sometimes we forget what is their best fit. Or most of the time, if you are going to lead people that are diverse, you need to understand their best fits and put them in the place where they find the best, where they find themselves most useful. There are too many people at work who are frustrated today. Do you agree with me? Too many. Too many. And the truth is that why we don't seem to enjoy, when we don't have the success we should have at work, is that we have not come to a level when work and play have come together. What I discovered is that when your work becomes your fun, success becomes easy. For me, after 20 years plus of searching, I've discovered the work that is my fun. If you wake me in the night, I'll do it. Ask me to go to bed, I'll do it. Pay me for it, I'll do it. Don't pay me, I'll do it. Because for me, it's like I'm playing. So you've got to apply them correctly. Number 3, it demands sacrifice. Every leader will always know that there's a price to pay. There's a price to pay for leadership. If you don't pay the price, then you cannot get the reward or the award. There's a price to pay. Every leader must know that. Those are the price to pay is the learnings that we go through, the experiences that we must have. It demands sacrifice. And one of those sacrifices is the sacrifice of learning, the sacrifice of working with people that are very, very diverse. Very diverse. Part of the price we need to pay. That's because people are different. Now, how many of us have heard that people are difficult? How many of us have said that people are difficult? Let's be sincere now. I'd like to see your hand up. You said it that people are difficult. Now, one of the things that I've discovered most of the time is that when I go and talk leadership, the next thing I hear is that, how do you deal with difficult people? How do you lead difficult people? And the question I'm always asking is that, you keep asking this question, how do you lead difficult people? You are also a people, even though you are just a person among the people. So if they are difficult people, all of us are difficult. Including you that is asking the question. But you know what I discovered? People are actually not difficult. People are only different. So let's begin to look at it that way. People are not difficult. People are different. I'm different than you. You are different than me. That's the truth of the matter. And there are several things that cause our differences. We must begin to look at those differences. Normally what I tell myself is this. Can we learn how to appreciate our similarities but celebrate our differences? So what is it that makes us different? Number 1 is our personality. Our personalities. Your personality can come from 3 basic things. It can come from your hereditary. It can come from the role models that you believe in. Now when I ask now who are leaders in your life, somebody said Pastor Adiboye, somebody said Pastor Sawade. The people that you believe in can shape your personality. Then your environment can also shape your personality. Then there are backgrounds, our experiences, where we came from, where we are from. It shapes our, there's a way you think simply because you came from certain places. I grew up in the northern part of Nigeria, and because of that it has affected some of my thinking. I mean, I've come to the West for a while, and so those two are merging together somewhere. But that's what happens. Your background, your experiences. Those who have had difficult experiences will think that everything must come in a difficult manner. I didn't plan to say that, but I'm just telling you, because there are some people that think that life must be hard, simply because life has always been hard for them. But it's not hard for everybody, excuse me. I'm sorry. It depends on how you see it. Demographics and our age. And that's very critical. Like I said when I was speaking, some people probably will be working in an office at the age of 63, And they'll be working with somebody who is 23, and the two of them have to work together. I had an occasion like that when I was working some years back, and the person that was supposed to be supervising, who had not graduated from school as it were, was old enough to be my father. So how do you tell him to do what he needs to do? Because you look at him in the face. He doesn't know to tell you, I'm old enough to be your father. Just one look in the face, you will understand. You will understand. That's all he needs to do. So in demographics is another thing that makes us different. What about our values and our beliefs? What do I believe? What are the values I hold there? Some people believe that when you go to work, it's 9 to 5, make sure that you close at 5 or 5 minutes before 5. It's a belief system. Some people believe that, well, if they pay me that, I should just give them exactly what they pay me for. That's okay. It's a fair deal. Take your own, I take my own. But I'm sorry, this is not part of what I want to share, but let me just say this to you. I learned long ago how to work long hours. I'm not doing it for them, I'm doing it for me. I'm building me, I'm not building them. That's the truth of the matter. The table that I sit on is not for the organization. That table is for me to build myself, because the way I operate here will determine how I operate when I get there. You are building a habit. So if you decide to say that they're not paying me well, so let me just work according to what they are paying me. By the time you get to the place where they are paying you, very soon you will sack you because you cannot meet up. Your habit has been built. So check your values and check your beliefs. And then of course your passion and your interest. What interests you? What are the things that you are passionate about? When you find the things you are passionate about, that's another area of diversity for many of us. So how do we lead diversity? We're going to share about 4 or 5 things, and then we have some inner things that we can engage. I don't know if you have that video. Okay, we'll show it at the end. To lead diversity, number 1, you've got to build your people skills. I hope you don't mind. Can we just say people skills? Because see, leadership is a people business. It's a people business. Sometimes I wonder how some people imagine leadership. It's easier to lead people when they like you. So you've got to improve on your people's skills. Someone has rightly said that everything rises and falls on leadership. But let me add this to it. Leadership rises and falls on relationship. If I like you, it's certain that I'm going to follow you easily. If I don't like you, you might force me to follow you, but the truth is that I will not be following you with my heart, which means I will not give you 100% commitment. So you need to be able to be a likable person. If you can't relate well, it's not possible. Then it becomes impossible for you to really lead well. So here are 5 tips to quality relationship. 5 tips. Very easy tips. They are not complex, but please do not undermine their simplicity. Number 1, value yourself. Value yourself. The truth that I have found out is that the way people treat you is an indication of how they treat themselves. That's an indication of how they treat themselves. Value yourself because you are important. It begins with you. You are important. See yourself right. See yourself the way you're supposed to. Because the way you see yourself, and I'm saying this because I know that the way we see ourselves will determine the way we will see the other people that are around us. If we see ourselves this way, we see ourselves, we see them that same way. It's like a mirror. Living a worthwhile life will require a healthy self-worth. See yourself right. Value yourself properly. Value yourself correctly. As far as this life is important, this life is concerned, you are very important. As far as this work is concerned, you are very important. Sometimes we underestimate the value of what we do. We look at it as very small. But for example, if somebody is a teacher, for example, and takes somebody in nursery school, he has added foundation to something that is very great. But sometimes you might not even know. You just think that I'm just going there, I'm just coming out. But see yourself right and value yourself properly. Number 2, value people. Always put people first. I always say this to leaders. People come before project. People come before profit. People come before program. Put people first. Everything will stop at some point. But your greatest and your best asset are the people that make up whichever organization you find yourself. It's very important to the scheme of things because we are all connected. One thing happens here, and we think that it's just happening there, but it's actually affecting us somehow. There's a war in Ukraine now. Does it affect us? Exactly. Exactly. We have never been to Ukraine before. We don't know Ukraine, but it's affecting us because one way or the other, some things that are supposed to move have not moved, and so somebody is here, and you are feeling the impact of it. Whatever happens somewhere, so value people. See people as people. Don't see them as machines. See them as people. Because the leader's greatest asset are his people. Number 3, add value to people. Add value to people. One of the resolves that I believe that everyone should make is that every day I will make somebody else better. Because you see, if you're not making somebody better, you know what you're doing? You will make them bitter. You make them bitter. And it starts by making up your mind that every day I want to add value to somebody. In my client, in my world, we normally say I'm a person of value who adds value to others so that they can make a difference in their world. Add value to you. What happened to my life when my life came across your life? How did my life shift because it came across your life? It doesn't matter who the person is. You can do it above, you can do it beneath, you can do it across. Everybody. See, sometimes we want to outdo each other. We're in a competitive world as well. Is that correct? But the truth is that life is not about competition. It's not. Because if you get it and I don't get it, all of us missed it. Hello? Hi. I don't know if you know what I'm saying. If you get it and I don't get it, all of us missed it. And I'll give you an example. If you work in an assembly line and you put a car in one place, how do they start? Everybody has a part to play. Somebody puts the tire, somebody bolts the tire, and then the car goes out. But you know what? If I put the tire right, I wouldn't produce the car very well. But the person that was going to just bolt the tire didn't do a good job. If that car goes out and has an accident, what happened? They are not going to say the man that did the tire. No, they are going to say the company is a mess. That's why we need to find out how can I make the person working with me better? How can I make my boss better? How can I make my subordinate better? We've got to make up our mind to add value to help as many people as you can to grow and get better at what they are doing. That's number 3. That's how to build relationship. Number 4, become more valuable yourself. That means keep improving yourself. Because the truth is that the value you add to others will be determined by how much value you have added to yourself. The help you can give anybody will be determined by the kind of help that you are giving to yourself. How you have grown yourself will determine how you can help somebody else to grow. So become more valuable. What can I do to improve myself on a daily basis? Okay, let me stop and ask a question. I'll turn the question around. What can you do to grow yourself on a daily basis? Because you see, you are so important. You can't wait to grow yourself conference by conference. You can't. It's not year by year. It's day by day. So what will you do on a daily basis? Can you please help you write for yourself what 2 things at least, just 2, that you will do on a daily basis to grow yourself? 5 things I do to grow my faith. 5 things I do to grow my family. 5 things I do to grow my future. 5 things I do to grow my fitness. 5 things that I have to do in order to grow my finances. Whether you like it or not, money answers all things. But I have those 5 written down. So every day I have to be checking on myself. So I'm just asking. One of the things that every day I can't go anywhere without a book. I can't go anywhere. What is a book? If you check my bag right now, I can guarantee you, if there are no 2 books there, that will be a mistake. I am very sure there are more than 2. And in the car there are some. By the side of my bed, my wife doesn't like it. There are 3 books there. Because I need to be updating. I asked my doctor, and I need to tell you this, maybe I asked my doctor, I said, I have a problem. I discovered that it's only when people have a brain problem that they go and do brain scan. So I told her, I wanted to do a brain scan. Let me be sure that my brain is still working. So the doctor said, why do you want to put yourself through that radiation? I said, because I want to know where the level is. I need to be aware of what's going on here. So it's not just one day, just and the man was talking now and he had gone, what happened to him? So the doctor said, you don't need to do that. Your brain won't have a problem. I said, why? He said, because you are always exerting your brain. Stop working on your brain, it dies. That's why some people, they don't like trouble. So when you give them a mental work, I can't do it too. I don't know how to post on Instagram. I don't know. Those of them who know, they give you from it. Prevent it. No, I'm not in that world. I'm not in that world. Okay, fine, no problem. Sorry, you're not in that world. No problem. Your children are not there. You are not there. So they talk to you at home, but what they are talking there, you don't know. And once you don't know, you don't know. Anyway, let me stop there. Become more valuable. How can I improve myself? I hope you are meeting that. Let me move on. Trust people up front. This one is difficult to teach, especially in a country like Nigeria. Oh, it's very difficult, and I know it's difficult to teach. I know. It's even difficult, more difficult to practice. Even me myself, I'm struggling with it. But you know what? Every time we see ourselves, we are suspicious of each other. The moment you see somebody, you have actually put the person in a box. Where are you from? What a question. 2 questions I don't really like hearing. Is that question, who are you and where are you from? Where are you from? Excuse me, what do you mean? I'm from my house. He said, no. I mean, where exactly are you from? Stop being proud of what you didn't have a hand in creating. That's the truth of the matter. What makes you better than somebody? You were born in one particular state or one particular country. It's not your choice. You were not part of that decision. Is that correct?
Yes.
So why the big deal? Okay, you were born in the house of a very wealthy man. Was it your decision? No. So when we see people, can we just give them a 10 and let them tell us that they're not trustworthy? Mark my word. That I trust you doesn't mean you are trustworthy. Trusting you is my decision. You being trustworthy is your decision. I can't run your decision, you can't run my decision. But you know what? I will not disturb my head. I will trust you upfront. And I know some people will say, what's the problem with this? What are you talking about? But let me tell you this. In my small world, I just trust people around me. And there's something that works in my life. For example, I give somebody my ATM card and I give him the pin. And I say, go ahead, keep it with you. 2-3 days is with him. I learned that from my boss. My boss is traveling, but I just traveling now. And he just picked up his checkbook and he signed checks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He said, take it. In case there's anything that needs to be done, please go ahead and deal with it. Some people cannot give their wife their check.
Yes.
Even their wife, they can't give their check. They will hide it under somewhere, corner it and put a box and padlock there. But you know what helped me to be able to take that decision? Because somebody asked me, say, what if they steal your money? I said, may I make more than they can steal? Because if we can't trust people, sir, we won't be able to lead them. It won't work. You'll be watching their back and looking at them. Okay, they are talking. Are they talking about me? What are they saying? And you know the problem is that many of us don't know what we are doing to ourselves mentally when you are thinking those thoughts. Creative work, the time that you are supposed to be using to do creative work, you are busy looking for who is doing what and who is not doing what. And sometimes, most of the time, you are wrong. Yes. Help me out. Tell everybody you are wrong. Most of the time we are wrong. So trust people up front. Please put a 10 on everyone you meet. Let me share this. There's a principle that I work with that I learned from my mentor. It's called the 101% principle. And what's that principle? 101% principle says, look for the 1% that you agree on and give it 100% attention. If I am looking for where we are different, sir, I will find many. You are lighter than me. You are taller than me. So you are bigger than me in size. And there are many things I can find. That's the truth of the matter. But you know what? I can find one thing that me and you, at least, we have in common. Even though I have not met you before. You wear glasses. Your own is public, my own is private. We all wear glasses. You know, I just discovered that there's private glasses, there's public glasses. But at least that's okay. So if I want to communicate with you, I just say, oh, lovely glasses, there we are. Look for that 1%. Give it 100% attention. Not that you not look for the 1% you don't agree on and then you give it 100 and then you're talking about that one thing you don't agree on and see that's the only thing that is relevant to us. So trust people. Can you hear me say trust people? Trust people. I wish that I can say that to everyone who is in Nigeria. Trust people. Let's trust ourselves. Let's just trust people. Your privilege should come from where you came from. Trust people, that's all. Anyway, let me move on. Number two, the second thing that you need to develop is your capacity to listen. Your capacity to listen. Okay. I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I want to do something now. I want to do something. Okay, just take somebody, just one person next to you, and tell them anything. But you must talk for 30 seconds. So first of all, pick somebody. Pick somebody. Just pick who is your partner. Just pick. Let's try this out. Just pick somebody.
I asked her then. She said she's Ada. I asked her what she had for breakfast. She said she had water, that she had not eaten anything other than water.
But you were talking.
We shared.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. What I wanted you to do is that one person to just talk. You see, the import of that exercise is that at the end of the day, sir, no, one person will be talking, the other person will be listening. The challenge is that listen. The challenge is that when we talk, most often we don't listen. Because you are thinking of what you will say in answer to what the person is saying. That's why most of the time when we are talking, you are telling somebody, I know what you want to say. How can you know what I want to say? I didn't say it. When it comes to communication, let me say this here. It's not about what I wanted to say, but let me say this. Communication, hello. Can I have your ears? Hello. Communication is not what is said. Communication is what is heard. What is heard? It's not what is said. You can stand there and say everything, blah, blah, blah. By the time it is done, we ask the other person, what did you hear? It is what they heard, because the essence of your communication is so that you can pass information. If the information does not get there, you're blabbed. Nothing has happened. Listening is the way that we earn the right to be heard. You want to build relationship with people, you must develop your listening skill. And it's a little bit challenging, it's difficult, trust me, because I've been there. In fact, I have a little book that I wrote on the habit of listening. I had to write that book out of my personal experience when I discovered that one of the things that was ringing the bell in my house the most was that you are not listening to me. Is there any man that is in that category here? Be sincere, any man in that category. Okay, you don't want to be sincere. If I ask women now, they'll tell me, is there any woman who has been saying that at some point or the other? Can you put up your hand? You are not listening to me. That somebody listen to me here. You say, but I've been talking. Yes, we are talking. But they're not listening. They're not paying attention. It happens at home. But you know what? It also happens at work. I wish I had that. I'll show you a video. The man came to the office and said, I'm now the CEO. And he trashed everything we were doing. And he started talking. When he finished, he said, is there anything? And everybody said, sorry, this thing that you're talking about, where did he go? Where did he come from? Because they didn't understand. But before you speak, please take this one. Listen first. Because listening skills is critical if you want to earn the right to be heard, especially in this generation. 4 things listening does for leaders. Number 1 is that it helps you build your relationship with others. Number 2, listening will show that you value the other person. And that's so true. If you are talking to me and I'm listening to you, you will feel that you are respected. You feel respected because you are listening to me. Maybe that's why sometimes, I'm going in the home. You hear a man saying to his wife, you don't respect me. Why doesn't she respect you? Because she does not kneel down to greet him. No, that's not it. The reason is that, okay, fine. I told you to do something, you didn't do it. It means that you don't respect me. Number 2, listening shows that you value the other person. Number 3, listening generates ideas. I didn't say idea, I said ideas. Because the truth is that if you have one idea, and I have one idea, and we share our idea, it is not 2 ideas any longer, it is 4 ideas. So listening generates ideas. Listening increases your knowledge bank. You know more. The one who speaks has said his mind. But the one who listens has heard the mind of the person that is speaking. So don't be the one who is always giving everybody a piece of your mind. Because by the time you are done, you will not have any peace of mind again. listening increases your knowledge bank. Wilson says, a good listener is not only popular everywhere, but after a while, he knows something. A good listener, after a while, he knows something. So we've got to learn to develop our listening skill. Let me give you an exercise if you can do this. If you can do this. And some of us can do it easily, but go deeper. And what I'm going to ask you to do is that sit with somebody, a friend, your spouse, somebody close to you, anybody, and spend 30 minutes with them. But let them do the talking. Don't do any talking. Say no yes, say no no. Just practice it and see how it works. If you feel like talking while they are talking, one small exercise I do is that I count 1 to 3 and then I stop. But practice that and see. Practice your listening skill because it's important. Let's go on. 5 things that you have to listen for as a leader. I'm not done with listening yet. 5 things. If you lead people, you need to listen for their perspective. Listen for their perspective. Listen for their pain. What are they going through? A lot of times, because we don't see people as people, we don't remember their pain. We are not looking at their pain. So when they are talking, we are looking at some other things and we are trying to defend. We say, no, that's not it. I did it because it is because of this that this happened. Listen to their pains. Listen to their potential problems. What are the challenges that are against them? What are they looking at? And then number 4, what are the potential? Listen for their potential opportunities. The opportunity is the place where you can help them the most. That's the place where you can help them the most. Listen for the opportunity. And listen for potential leaders. If you run an organization here, and you're here, please don't wait until you pass on to hand over the baton. Do it in your lifetime. You are helping the person that takes over. It's a difficult thing to do, I know, because somebody will say, so if I give them the thing, what am I going to do? See, if you don't leave something, you can't get something. If you don't leave something, I mean, this is something that I've done over and over again, and I'm not, I've done it over and over again. I take a position, and after some time, I just say, look, I'm done with this. Can I go do something else? 10 years ago, I did it. Last year, I did it again. I'm done with this. I've done this for 12 years. Can I go do something else? Because the thing is that there are potentials on your inside that you have not seen. Potential that you carry that you have not seen. And you just carry them there because you have been doing the same thing. And I don't know how somebody can do the same thing for 25 years and still be okay doing it. I really don't know. Maybe I'm restless. Personally, I don't know. But there are potential leaders there. You can allow them. Close your eyes on some things. People will make mistakes. You make mistakes too. Mistake is not a problem. It is 2 words put together. Miss and so when I went there, I miss to take. So the next time I go, what do? I take. So I don't have a problem with the word mistake. Give that chance. People who always make mistakes, you can't blame them for that. And mistakes helps us to actually grow anyway. So questions to ponder. How well do you listen to others? How well do you listen to others? What can you do now to improve your listening skills? I gave you one example. Practice. Go back home. Go to the office. Spend your break time. Tell somebody to just talk. Listen. Pay attention. Repeat what they say after that and find out whether you really got the message. You really got what you were saying. You really got it. Number 3, who are 3 people on your team that you need to begin to listen to from now? 3 people that you know on your team, you don't listen to them for whatever, but now you want to listen to them. You want to hear what they are saying. Pick those 3 people, write them down, and then start working on it. Okay, because of time, I'm moving through. You can always take a snapshot of the slides and take them for your reference. How well do you listen? What can you do now to improve your listening skills? And who are 3 people on your team that you need to listen to? Is there anybody who wants to give us an idea in number 2? What can you do now to improve your listening skill? Any idea came to your mind? You want to share with us? Now? Talk less, okay? Talk less. That's
See positives in people.
See positives in people, okay? Be patient. Give everybody a chance, okay? I'm trying to find out what that we are saying now. I don't improve my listening skill? How does it make me a better listener? How does it make me a better listener?
Emotional intelligence.
Thank you. We'll talk about that. God bless you. So let's move on. So number 3, use your intuition. That gives you insight. Now this is difficult to teach because there's no mathematics to intuition. However, it's very important, especially when we live in the kind of world we live. Our world is very volatile, right? Very uncertain, very complex, very ambiguous. You don't know what's coming. Sometimes you don't have the situations, and you don't even know. I mean, 2020, nobody had an announcement that COVID was going to come. If they ever told you that there will be a day when the whole world will shut down, everybody will be in their house, you would have said, how can that be possible? But just one pandemic from wherever just came, and everybody, and the only language that people who are in power were saying is, we don't know. In fact, that's when I realized that we can't do everything. There are certain things we don't know. They say, we don't know. So the only thing that we know is, let's lock you in the house first, while we figure out what we can figure out. At least just stay home first. Whether it worked or it didn't work, I don't know. But just stay home first. But intuition is how a leader gets to understand what's possible. It refers to your ability to understand, to know something without really relying on analysis and data. That's why people just say, I just feel that if we do this, I don't have the result, I can't put it there. But if I just do this, if we give this person a chance, the profit will increase. Not because I'm not certain, but somehow I just have this hunch, and most of the time it works. So you've got to be able to practice intuition. Leaders are readers. How many of us agree with that? So how many books have you read this month? Leaders are readers, but they read more than books. They read more than books. What do they read? Okay, number 1, they read situations. Leaders read situations. They read what's going on around them. What do you see based on what's going on around them? Because every leader must see before and must see more than others. They read situations. What happened? What's going on? You have to be able to read the situation. You have to be able to read people. If you are going to lead people, then you have to know who's on your side and who's against you, so that you can know how to deal with each one of them. Because there are people, like we said, they are not difficult, they are different. If I am not following you, there must be a reason why I'm not following you. If you read me, you will find out why, and then you can correct the impression. Do you know that a lot of times people are fought on perception that are wrong? Number 3, they read trends. And that helps you to understand what's unfolding, so you can make better decisions. When you're able to read trends, your decision making gets better. That means you are looking at what happened in the past, what's happening now, and then you can project for what happens in the future. They read situations, they read people, they read trends, and then number 4, they read themselves. And that you can do by finding out, what am I feeling? What do I know? What do I think? Look at that. What do I know? What do I think? It takes a lot of intentionality, but it's very important. What am I feeling? What do I know? What do I think? I'm sitting down to look and ask myself, what do I think about this? Because great leaders will practice intuition more than good leaders. Great leaders are intuitive by nature. Number 4, somebody mentioned this, become emotionally intelligent. Now, I'm not going to talk too much about this because I know that there's a lot of hype here and there, but you need to study about emotional intelligence. It's very important. You've got to be able to study how to understand yourself, understand your emotions, and manage your emotions. Also understand the emotion of others and manage their emotions. One of the things that I wrote down for myself a long time ago, because I used to be prone to anger, serious anger. When I began to work on it, I just let myself understand this, and I want you to probably look at it and you might see, if you don't manage your emotions will cause you damage. To cause you damage. Many times you have crashed a lot of things simply because we just 1 second of that emotional kata, everything just scattered. Practice emotional intelligence. It's a very important skill for today. When you neglect your emotional intelligence, you might be smart, but you become as smarter in life. Maybe this is the reason actually that smart people are not as proficient as people that are not as smart. They're very smart, but when it comes to EQ, they are scoring low. Negative emotions will reduce your level of intelligence. In fact, the funny thing is that it will affect your health. It affects your health. A principal one day wanted to try something out in the school, and he did something. He got 3 teachers, and he told the 3 teachers, they are the best teachers. He said they are the best. And because they are the best, they want to try something. We're going to give you 90 of the best students in this school. So that you be with the best, so that the best will be the best, don't want to practice that. And so they told the first one, self-awareness. Self-awareness. And how do you react to others? How do you respond? We need to be very careful with this, because sometimes I see some people go to work and whatever happened at home, they bring it to work. And then some people leave work, whatever happened at work, they bring it home. And dump the baggage on somebody. Can we decide that, look, it's time to do it? What do you do? Thank you, sir. Self-evaluation. Self-management. Taking responsibility for our action. Now, I know I spoke about personality, but there are some people who will tell you that that's the way I am. No, that's not the way you are. That's the way you have been grown. That's the way you have been nurtured. That's what you have observed. You have seen people tough, and you think that the tougher you are, the more people will respect you. There's some people believe that when they are tough, people respect them. Say, if you are sharp, somebody has told me before, if you are gentle, you have trouble. Wow. Time is against me, so I need to move. Understand our diversity, and this one, I'll leave it with you. Try and check it out. This is where I'm going to talk about our demographics, the younger generation, the older generation, and how it works. So let me just go. Understand our diversities. See, we have different ages now coming together to work, and they are trying to achieve the same organizational goals. So we need to understand each of the generations, because each generation represents a different paradigm, a unique perspective, and it's very important. Just take a snapshot, because I don't have time, so I can't wait. And then this one generation, that's their life, that's the way they appear. Well, of course, actually, we trace them this way, but that's one generation, right? This generation will be the most educated generation in history. Very, very intelligent. My son, who is now 12, but my son, one of my friends who is very top officer in the bank, came to my house and dropped his phone. My son took the phone and played the game on the phone. When the man saw the score, he said, I've been playing this game for the last 2 years, I've never scored this. I did it for the very first time. One day he took my iPad and he locked it and I couldn't open it. He was the one that told me, okay, you do this, do this. He came back one day and he told his mom, I want to be the greatest YouTuber in the world. And my wife said, YouTuber, I've never heard that profession before. Have you heard that profession before? I have not. But when we were arguing, no, it can't be. You must be doctor, you must be engineer, because we are stereotypes. The only thing we see is a doctor, engineer. The young man went and came back and said, man, this is how much they pay them. Honestly, if you see the money, you become a child. They are tech savvy. And social media will be their dominant mode of interaction. And that's what's happening now. You see the way. Then these are the Gen Zs, the Zoomers, my generation, Gen Zs. Many people don't like these people. I started calling them my generation when I saw that the other generation was even fighting them. If you work with the Gen Z, you will know that it's challenging. How many of us work with the Gen Z here? You work with them. So one of the things you always say is that, in fact, the one that shocks you the most is that they'll tell you, I'm concerned about my mental health. Yes. And you're like, excuse me, where are you? What have you seen? You are concerned about your mental health. Do you know what we have gone through? Let's talk about this. Sir, how many of us walk for kilometers to get to school? You that they will carry to school, they will even help you. The day you are writing your egg, they are watching you. And I said, I'm concerned about my mental health. They are very, very independent. They are entrepreneurial, communicative, but they are competitive. Then we have the, like I said, go of time after. Then we have the millennials, senior to generation. The millennials are the work now. They are more like the people that are taking over the generation as it were. The millennials. They are more focused on materialistic values. They like money. They like materials. They are not as much concerned about helping the larger community. The emphasis is on things like money, fame, image. And you can see, especially fame, you can see a lot of young people now, the only thing they want is how many likes did I get on Instagram? How many likes? But I'm helping them and I'm telling them that if people don't like what you have posted on Instagram, it's because they don't know what to like. Don't trouble yourself about that. And then then there's us, Generation X, self-sufficient, individualistic, resourceful. Now let me share something here. I know you are taking the snapshot, which is good. I know you are taking the snapshots. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I will restart, but let me finish so that by the time we remember we finished. I will restart, don't worry. I will restart, definitely. Now you see, this Generation X, they have a paradigm. And there's a way they look at authority. For this generation, all they were talking about is, let's replace the leaders. Let's replace them. But Generation Y, the millennials, what are they? As far as they are concerned, life is a buffet. It's a cafeteria. Enter and pick whatever you like. So they choose their leaders. You can be my teacher, but you are not my mentor. And they will tell you.
Yes, sir.
So you are my teacher, but you are not my mentor. So they will tell you, I have a mentor for this, a mentor for that. You are their father, but you are not my mentor, sir. Because you can't become my mentor because you are my father. You have to earn the right to be my mentor. And many of us don't understand. Listen to me, sir. I'm listening to somebody else. Listen to me. And you are shouting, but it's not working. Then there's this one. I mean the Gen Zs. The Gen Zs, the Zoomers. You know what they think about leadership? I'm not sure I need them. Because the things that you were asking your mother and your father, they ask Siri. And Siri will tell them. They will ask Google, it will show them the way. And if Google does not show them the way, they will go to ChatGPT. And ChatGPT will start talking to them. How many of us know ChatGPT here? Okay, fantastic. Some of us have not used it. I have to go and learn how to use it. Because I will not allow that generation to pass me by. That's very important. So I'm taking it back, sir. I hope you saw it. Okay, let me show you the last slide. Baby boomers, these are the elders, so let's leave that alone. I deserve better, replace them authority. How do you feel about it?
Happy? Exactly.
Can you feel the disconnect? That's the son and that's the dad. So what do we do in this situation? Talk to me, somebody. What do we do in this situation? Hello, anybody? What do we do in this situation? Thank you, man. Put it together. It's a very funny thing that we are in. Some people, when they get old, their hair will go grey. They'll go and buy dye. Some people, they are not yet old. They are old. They are both dye. Either way, everybody is buying dye and they are graying one hair. So take a look at it. Here we are. That's the dad. He has lost it here. And that's the son. He has not lost, but he has moved it here. So can we take this one and put it on this one, and together we can have a whole complete system. So the goal here is not stereotype. Let me go. Who are your people? Good questions. Who are your people? Who are you? You take time to read the people that work with you. Who are they? What do they want? What do they really want? Good question. What do they want? This is where I have issues with people that do performance appraisal and all that. You don't understand that before you are doing it, I've added 25 naira to your pay packet after 1 year. The guy is like, what are you talking about, Mike? I learned from this way. My son is serving somewhere. And as a youth corps member, what they are paying him is good. It's good. But he calculated how much I paid for his school fees. Calculated his allowance. And he came back and said, I can't do this, sir. I said, what? He said, I can't do this. He said, all this work. I said, how much work? All this work. That's what he calls it. All this work. He goes to work twice a week. The other 2 days is working from home. Yet he's shouting all this work. Some of us will wake up in Abuleba and head for Victoria Island. 3 hours before we start working. Then when we close, we do another 3 or 4 hours to go there. Barely month something somewhere along the road. But this man is working 2 days in a week. And he said, I can't do it. That's their generation. What do they want? What do they value? You've got to understand what they value. Because you see, if you want to value somebody, you must value what they value. Understand what they value. And then number 4, how can you help them? Now the goal here is not to stereotype anybody. The goal is to understand our differences and how we can put those two heads together. The hair at the top and the hair that is at the bottom. Put the two of them together so that we can have a great time. Well, these 3. How do you connect with them? Number 1, be humble, be open to outside perspectives, respect, honor, and appreciate people for who they are. And then curiosity, hunger for learning and growth. Hunger for learning and growth. So the goal is not to stereotype but to understand. My time is, I'll take it back, but let me just wrap this up, don't worry. Okay. Our goal is not to stereotype but to understand. Understand the people that are around you, understand who you work with, understand them. When you understand them, so can we read this together?
We need to appreciate our similarities, but celebrate our differences.
We need to appreciate our similarities, but celebrate our differences. When a child is born, one of the mistakes I see people do is that the first time they go there, it looks like his mom, it looks like his dad. But after some time, we see the reality. But can we begin to look at our differences and celebrate our differences? Celebrate our diversity. But that's what makes life interesting when we are diverse. Thank you for your time.